Megan Bugoni for Purpose and Excellence. As always, I'm trying to get my devices to stand. If this device falls, I am going to be in trouble. Lord Jesus, I need this device to hold. All right, guys, look, let me do this. Let me do this real quick. I'm going to switch them up. So you might see things that you should not see, but I am wedged somewhere in the house. I am switching these devices, so the bigger one is clamped and the other one is not. Bear with me, do not leave. This is an exercise. Look at that. You get to see my ceiling. Enjoy my ceiling. Hey, Facebook. Hi. Hey, Instagram. By God's grace, this thing is gonna stand. Can you see me? It's kind of wedged sideways, but it'll have to do for today. Is that okay? Get the hair down. Okay. How are you guys? I'm actually feeling hot. Maybe I should take this off so we can have this conversation. I want to talk to you about something that I've noticed a lot of people going through. I'm actually feeling hot right now. A lot of people going through this. I think, I would say half of the people that join the Masterplan Class have these hang-ups. I truly hope that you can see me out there on Instagram, because you're perched in a way I cannot even explain. So I'm going to put this on the side until I get warm again. I think half the people that show up on the Masterplan Class have these hang-ups. And just this week, I've had conversation with a couple of people that have failed and have struggled with things for so long that they completely believe that it is not in them to overcome them, and that it is not in them to be victorious in these areas. Now, what I had not disclosed to you guys before is that somebody who was on the Masterplan Class, who just started, she didn't even make the first, maybe she made the first session. She committed suicide thereafter. Now, this is not to bring somebody up or anything, but I am telling you, people go through things that are so real, that are so deep, that they truly do not see a way out. If this is the first time ever that you get to see me, you're like, who is she? Why is she talking about people's stuff? My name is Modesta Maigan Bogoni. This is Purpose and Excellence. Well, this is Modesta's page, but I'm coming to you. What is the word? Kwahisania. How'd you say that in English? I'm coming to you. This is brought to you by Purpose and Excellence. Hi, Abdullahi. Hi, Hamza. Hi, Esther. Look, my Instagrammers, I'm looking at you up there. I can't even see who's on. I'll say hi to everybody later. So I've noticed, like I said, half of the people that show up on the Masterplan Class, and many people I've spoken to, especially this week, are going through things that they're absolutely convinced they cannot get out of. Oh, this is perch. So funny. Bear with me, Facebook. I want to put my Instagram so people get a chance. Oh, perfect. That's so much better. So this is it. I've gotten to a point where nothing that anybody says to me they're going through, and listen, let us just agree from the very beginning. What happens to you at home, what happens to you in your head, what happens to you in relationships, what happens in your finances, it has a bearing on how you perform professionally. It will come and impact your business. It will come and impact your career. So I can't even just speak in one area. I can't be talking about professional skills or professional grooming without addressing you as a person, as a whole. So this lady, and she was saying, so somebody reached out and said, she's going through a lot of things. And she needs help. I said, all right, so let me see what I can do. And it got to a point where I thought, this is actually now psychological. She's been going through so much torture. And she said, maybe I need to take a break. I'll come back later. And I need to, deal with things on my own. I said, I would actually recommend that you see a professional about this. Because, I have no issues talking about mental health. At the time I had a breakdown. So I said, you actually need to speak to professionals. You need to, get counseling, etc., etc. But she would still random times send me a message. I can't take this anymore. I'm going to take my own life and all of this. And I, stood with her the best that I could, about her and her life. And I was sending her scripture. And next thing, a week or so later, I get a message from that phone. Sorry, was sending this message out to everybody that's connected with this lady. She's passed away. Now, it didn't say she's taken her life, but because she kept on talking about how life is overwhelming, and she didn't see a way out, then I assumed that, she committed suicide because she was healthy and everything was fine. And just yesterday I was speaking to somebody else who, she had to have a way of coping with things, and the way that she's chosen to cope with some of the challenges that she faces at work and in life, and even just the things that she thinks about herself were not serving her. They're not serving her. And she says, I've come to a point where I'm like, why do I keep doing this? And for how long, will I do this? And so I wanted to, and I would have questions, so before you'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I try to stay on the professional line so that I do not overstep my bounds. But right now I'll ask, and this is what I'm inviting you guys to do today as well. If you would like to share in details, fine. If not, ask me a question, tell me of a challenge. I am telling you there is a way out. So today I want to address how we can all go about whatever comes at us in life, how we can all go about getting to the other side, how we can flip these challenges, these problems that we see, especially when we feel like the problem is me. Like, I don't know what to say to you. No matter how many times that I try, I will keep having the same issues. And so I'm just not cut out for this. There are people who get into depression. There are people who get out of business. There are people who change careers. There are people who quit their jobs. There are people who run themselves over until they're kicked out of their jobs, simply because they think this is too far gone, this is too deeply rooted, and it is an issue with me. And so I want to go through something very simple, and it's a change management model of addressing things, of getting people past the hurdle that they currently see to then seeing a solution. Because there are times that here we are, we're pep talking and motivating and speaking to people, about solutions when they're not even there yet. They're not in the frame of mind to hear the how-tos. And many a times, in change management and in, hi Modesta, hey Alois, hi Ernest, hi Anna. So many a times, in professional settings, many a time, whether it's change management and it's training, and even if it's motivational speaking and it's organization development, we talk about the how-tos. And sometimes people are not even in the frame of mind to know now how to take certain techniques and tools and strategies to get on the other side. So where do we start? Because it's real. People are committing suicide. It's real. People are getting into depression. It's real. People are getting into alcoholism. It's true. People are running their lives crazy. I know somebody who I watched for years, and I tried to speak to them, who eventually died. And I know that, he died from a car crash, and I know that he was completely drunk when he had that crash, and he was probably racing or something, because it was a thing that he tended to do. And so before we go in the how-tos, and this is how you show up, and this is how you present yourself, this is how you write your resume, and this is how you speak, let's address some of the things. Because if your mind is telling you you're such a basket case, you are so messed up, there is no way that you can get out of this, you will never believe that you have what it takes, no matter how many how-to books you read, no matter who you have encouraging you. And so there are times I change hats, like I change these wigs. There are times I change hats, and I want to address what you're going through here. And when now you can see the light, let's talk about the how-to. So number one, you're going through something. Somebody, I have people say, I just get into this funk. I just get into this mood. I just get into this state where I'm overwhelmed and I need to shut myself up from everybody and everything. And, so some people are like, I sleep around. Somebody else would like, I drink myself senseless. Somebody else will say, I just spend and spend and spend. After all, I've spent my life, doing it on other people. I'm not doing it on myself. So I splurge, I indulge myself, and then I feel bad about it. So sometimes people don't even know what to call a thing. So this is what I would advise. Number one, get awareness. Do you know what you're going through? Because life comes at us so fast that we're just so busy doing life that we never stop long enough to ask ourselves, okay, it's a funk I get into. I tend to, people will say, ever since a teenager, I tend to. People will say, I have this 6-week cycle, and then I will go psychotic for a little bit, and then I come back. Or I will have this thing, so people know their triggers. People know that, they actually anticipate I have this cycle. Somebody else will say, we're like this in my family. So the first thing is awareness. Are you aware of what you're going through? Apart from there's a thing that happens. Can you stop long enough to ask yourself questions? This is just you. What is this? Why do I keep doing this? Where does it come from? What triggers it? The awareness of there's a problem here. Because this is the other thing. Hey, Jovinus. Hi, Edward. Hi, Dudu. The other thing is you might want to address, so let's say somebody's coming in, they want to come in for coaching, or somebody wants to use an advisor, somebody will call out as a mentor. And then you address a thing and they push back so hard. You're thinking, why did you come to me in the first place if you're not ready for this? They don't even realize that they're pushing back. They don't even realize that they have an issue, to push back on. And so when you start speaking to them, you're touching certain buttons that they're not ready to have in a healthy way addressed. Like you are actually pushing the buttons and they fight back. And so first stage is awareness. Can you call by name, or as close as you can get to calling by name what you're going through right now? Do you know what this is? Do you have a feeling? Do you recall where it came from? And do you know the triggers? So when I am about to be chosen for something, somebody would say, I find a reason to be disqualified because I'm afraid that I will suck. I actually don't think I'm worth it. And so I will just upset things so that it actually never happens. I'm never put to be assessed. And therefore, I'll never know whether I would do well or not in that situation. So first thing is awareness. Are you aware that there's an issue? As close as you can you call it by name? And the next thing now is desire. Are you willing to address it? Because one of the things about going directly to what are the 7 steps of, directly to, this is the new strategy to addressing a certain thing, is that you might find a person who will want to hack it. We're into hacking, we're just into, let me just crush it, let me just do it, let me just fake it till I make it. Sometimes people are not ready to address a thing. Sometimes people are not ready to leave a certain toxic environment. People are not ready to call things what they are because now I will own it. If I see it now, I cannot unsee it. If I call it what it is, it means I will actually then have to take the responsibility to do something about it. So here we are, sometimes we're asking, so what does it take? Like, what are the 7 steps of, and can you coach me through this? And what's your program about? So are you saying, Modesta, in 10 weeks, I'll be good? But when you start working with them, you realize they're not ready to let go. They're not ready to address the thing for what it is. They're not ready to look at it, because by looking at it, they can't point a finger anymore that they did me wrong and it's because of that and we were doing it together, and so because we were together and it didn't work out for us, there is not an I, there's not a me that, okay, I see that I tend to gravitate back to these patterns. I see that that's my little default, safe mechanism for me when this happens, and it's just not been serving me. It's now affecting my career, it's affecting my business, it's affecting me at home, it's affecting me in relationships. So the first thing is awareness. People even know what they're going through. People even know what the challenges are. Because there we are, we can be great at coaching, at training, at mentoring, at advising. Your girl here is writing books on how to, but if people are not even aware of what the issue really is, and you'll see in the Masterplan class that I ask people to choose a track. Whether you do personal development or career or business. Why? Because I want you to focus all your intention on what it is that you want to resolve. But you better believe Modesta will go and call out your stuff. I'm not just going to talk about business. I'm not just going to talk about career. I will take you back to this. Like, what are those patterns you keep repeating? Do you know where they came from? But of course, in a safe place, non-confrontational. I will still call things out, but it's not like to shame you, to blame you, to call you out. So are you aware of what it is? Can you, as close as you can, articulate what it is that triggers this, or why you feel like you keep going back to this. Some people will say, well, I'm married, and so I don't make decisions on my own. And so I find myself falling into these things. I find myself lumped up into these things. And there's something to address there as well. In other contexts, we say, well, this is what we do as a family. We always have, so it's part and parcel of me. And that is not so. We sometimes will say, it's a family thing. This is how we roll. This is how we are. This is our thing. But that's also running away. So being aware and at least addressing that I am aware I have an issue. And I am aware it's my little default go-to thing that I do to protect myself. But when you put up walls to protect yourself so others don't come in, you're also actually closing yourself from going out and living your best life. So awareness and then desire. Do you even want to address this thing? I've actually worked with people who are not ready to address the issues that they came to me with. They're not ready at all. And you cannot go so far. You can do the little, like superficial, cosmetic painting of a place. But if somebody is not ready to address what really is the issue, so that they can take ownership of their own transformation, so that they can pick up the tools, pick up the principles which they think would serve them, so that when you are done with them, with the whatever it is that you're doing together, they can continue that as a lifestyle thereafter. If people are not ready for that, you're really just taking them through a class. Like I went through classes when I was a little kid, like I went through classes for marriage, like I went through classes for, you don't want to take people through classes. You want people to own their journey, and they just have you alongside them, as they're going through. Hello, Kaka Lucas. Hi, Kaka Anthony. Kaka Anthony. Hello, Ahaz. Who else do I have here? Hey, Ash, Jacqueline, Shu, Hassan, Violet, welcome. Dudu, wow, what a privilege and an honor to have you here. I don't know who else is out there, guys. I purchased that phone and I'm not even going to try it. So that's the other thing. Awareness, desire. Then the third thing is knowledge. I think I've spoken to 4 people, and somebody who's on here now, I wonder if he's still on. Ernest helped me with this. So I want to publish books, and he told me, he just gave me the A to Z's of self-publishing. So somebody else said, I would really like to publish, and at some point I'd like to come to you and learn about it. By now, I think there've been 10 people this year who are talking about publishing. And I said, listen, go to kdp.amazon.com. You can self-publish. You can create your own covers. My husband and I create our covers on canva.com. Somebody else recently saw that I opened an online store. Shut up, Purpose and License Academy store. And I go, so what does that take? And I gave them a quick 20-minute tutorial just before I got my kids ready for school. And on last Thursday, somebody else was talking about, I've got books on the ready, but I want to publish them professionally. I want the finishing that you have with your books. Thank you very much. And I said, you can publish your books this weekend. Do this and that and the other. And so it was just an issue of knowledge. Imagine she was sitting there on her books for a very long time, and it was a question of knowledge. And so sometimes we think, we dismiss ourselves, we count ourselves out, we sabotage ourselves, and it was a question of knowledge. You just didn't know what it took. Ask. You can ask someone, and just like that, your challenges are resolved. And so if you've been through it, and somebody else said, Modesta, I have moved. I have withdrawn from so many things. But what every place has, in every place she's worked in, and every, kind of challenging situation she's been in, has in common is me. Even as I remove myself, I realize I am taking me everywhere. And so I need to address me. I don't know why, I do the things that I do, but this is what I've seen. I mean, there isn't a colleague I haven't reported. There isn't a situation I haven't cried, injustice, maybe because I'm Black or maybe because I'm a woman. But now I realize, let me be honest with you. I have an issue. Can you help me? And I was like, all right, let's call it what it is. And in conversation, and we had a 2-hour conversation, in conversation for every single thing that she brought up. And when I use this language, let's bounce this thing back and forth until we land it. Every single thing that was brought up has an origin, has a strategy, has a solution, and those solutions don't even come from me. She saw what was needed and she's going to implement it. I recently had a conversation with a friend who is running quite a reputable, like large NGO, and she couldn't, and she's probably going to see this, she couldn't get the board to buy into her strategy. And so I said, look, let's have a conversation about this. And she said, maybe it's the times we're in, maybe they want certain things addressed and not the others, and it's going to affect our funding next year. And so I need to get them on board, but I don't know how. And in conversation, we just realized that she sees the bigger picture. She wants to carry people to the big picture, but there isn't any indication that she's willing to see their side, or sometimes in situations where you must go together, to be willing to address or even make room for something else. And sometimes, I know this may sound political, you agree to get to the table and you agree to assess, all the different ideas that are there, even if you know you're not going to take up everything, but people have been heard. Therefore, and you also lay yours down. You're laying yours down saying, if you're for it, let's go. If you're not for it, then let's see what we're doing. And you will find that when you do that, when you're vulnerable and you put it down, and you invite them and allow them to do the same, you will together come up with something that was better. I was saying to her, there could be a third way. There is always a third way or a fourth way if there are three of you. There is always another way other than either my way or your way, or nothing is happening. And so sometimes it's a question of knowledge. I just didn't know there was another way. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to publish a book. I don't know how to set up a store. Actually, the store question came out 3 times, like within 24 hours. Like, how'd you set up a store? Somebody else is, I would love to do this. Where do I start? I'm like, I know just the person. I just connected them with the people who do the thing they're doing, and they're taking off with these people, and they're doing wonderfully. So ask questions. Allow yourself, instead of saying, I am too far gone, this is my issue, it's always been my issue. Go and find a person, an accountability person, a person you would trust, a person you're okay being vulnerable with, like, look, let me just tell you the truth. And you would be surprised that there is nothing wrong with you. Another lady who's now in the Masterplan Class, she was saying, when it comes to doing business, we're a business entrepreneurial family, but there's something I tried to do on my own, and it completely failed. And I have a feeling I'm not for that. And so as much as I came to the Masterplan Class wanting to look at business, maybe business is a thing I want to do later, but right now let me focus on my career. But as we were talking, so this is the first conversation we're having, our initial one-on-one session. As we're speaking, she kept on gravitating back to business, and this career was a means to an end for her business. And so I said, you're not really interested in this career, because after all, she's had over a decade experience, she's done really well. She wants to do business, but because she fell so flat on her face, and without getting an outside assessment, a third party looking in, she completely dismissed herself. She talked herself out of being entrepreneurial anymore. She started telling herself that she's going to continue with this career, and maybe one day it'll lead to business that she will do with her husband. But truthfully, every other sentence to her was about business. But she completely, talked herself out of it. So when I asked her, so I started asking her questions just about the business. What was her experience? What didn't go well? What's happening now? And she disclosed to me that, okay, so the issue is, I had somebody who was not qualified because I was somewhere else, and I couldn't be the face of my business. And I asked, how well do you know the market? Who were you targeting, and what were some of the things that what are some of the packages that you have, and what are the ways that you went and reached out to the market? And she realized that she wasn't at all positioning her business well. She didn't give her business a fighting chance. She did not give her business, the opportunity to flourish. And so she completely counted herself out of business, but there was nothing wrong with what she wanted to do. There was nothing wrong with her, but the approach that she had, the strategy she had, because she's still employed, the strategy she had and what she did in the market is what compromised her. So at the end of the conversation, this is the first conversation I have with this woman. At the end of the conversation, she was back and she's like, look, I'm changing my track. I want to do this for business. Because and initially she said, in 5 years from now. And the second session I had with her, she said, no, I want it sooner. I want to go back into my own business sooner. There was nothing wrong with me. I just hadn't assessed the market well. And because I had this young man who wasn't confident to go to speak to the market as other people who go in as the owners, and so they're able to negotiate, they're able to agree on terms, they're able to make decisions. He wasn't confident to go out there. He wasn't confident to say yes or no to anything. And so he was bumped off by the market. And those that were really confident in their business went ahead. And so now she says, you know what? Not 5 years. First of all, I am for sure. I want to do the Masterplan class for me to position for my business. Secondly, not 5 years from now. I am ready to have my business take off. And I think she's given herself 2 years. She's going to quit, her job and continue with her business with her husband. And that is so relieving. Imagine, had she not approached me, and this is somebody who's just been skirting around me for a very long time. Hey Modesta, I like what you do. I follow you. Oh wow, that post you put today, that was really helpful. But she was just dancing around like, oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you for the feedback. We've had this back and forth maybe a year now. And she says, I need to do this. It's now or never. On what terms can I do this? Can I pay flexibly? Would it be relevant given my field, etc., etc.? She just took this step of faith. And even if she came from another angle and she came thinking, I don't have what it takes, and it turned out not being even her being the issue, it's the approach. Now, I wonder how many things you have discounted yourself from. How many things you thought you couldn't do, you thought you weren't cut out for, you thought, there's some people who say, I take the back, whatever office thing, and my colleague is a face of this, or my brother is a face of this, or my sister is a face of that. This is really not my thing, and so my spouse is doing that. I'm just a thing on the side. How many things have you talked yourself out of? How many opportunities have you allowed to pass you by? How many things have you said, oh, it's just not going to be practical, not with my timetable, not with my family responsibilities, not with what is currently happening in my country, on the continent, whatever. How many things have you discounted yourself from? I remember there was a time, almost every opportunity, I was so down with, like my business wasn't doing well, and I had some crazy betrayal I can't even go into, with colleagues, that every opportunity that came after that, I would refer people. And I know solid people who can do a great job. I didn't even go, I would see the title of what the thing was. I didn't even go into the details of it. I completely discounted myself as an entrepreneur who could do it. I completely discounted myself, whether it was a woman entrepreneur, whether it was, something to be done in East Africa or to be done in my country. I would see that thing and I would forward it. Somebody calls me, I would send them another name. Somebody WhatsApps me, I would send them a contact. Like, I completely discounted myself. I completely talked myself out of ever again touching certain areas in life. And imagine, I don't even know how I got back here. I'm very grateful to God that I'm back and I'm on and I'm doing the things that I'm doing. But imagine how many of us do that. How many things do we talk ourselves out of? How many things do we say, been there, done that, didn't work out so well? How many things do we defer? How many things do we leave to other people? We say, they're better qualified, they're better off than me. How many lucrative opportunities have we passed by simply because we thought, this is too much? I have tried it. This is a good one. I know myself and I am not cut out for this. Anything but this. How many times have we had lesser dreams? Have we taken our dreams, a notch or two or 10 lower simply because we felt, okay, I'm not the person for this thing. Look, I'm checking to see if this thing is on. Yes, it is. Hey, my people. Look, I just lifted this up. Hi, Lillian. Hi, Akanana. Hey, Gertrude. Hi, Bimgaya. Hey, Moto, Halima, William. I'm glad you guys are on there. I just had to lift this phone to check because you're perched out here, perched behind Facebook, my Instagrammers. But you're ride or die, and I'm very grateful that you put up with me. Let me put this properly. So yeah, if you have any questions, I want you to ask me. If you have any questions, whether it is, Modesta, there was an opportunity, I was passed up. I do not understand why I was passed up. And that has impacted me. Because I worked, I gave my all, and so was I not good enough? It could well be an interview. maybe you interviewed and you went so far ahead with these interviews. You were so sure that you're going to get this opportunity. Oh my goodness, I've had one of those. Woo, that was a terrible near miss. Like you get flown out to go to HQ and to meet these people and that, and you're convinced this is it, and then it doesn't work out. You're thinking, oh my goodness, like maybe I thought I was far greater than I really am. Let me just be realistic. Maybe this thing is not for me. It could well be, somebody, a friend of mine just recently resigned somewhere. They were really mistreating her. She's extremely senior. I mean, just global, her level and aptitude. And she said, just nobody acknowledged, no button. I didn't even get a card. And I said, you know what? Focus on who you are and what it is that you want to do next, and what you're able to do. So something like that could completely remove it. Like I dedicated almost 5 years of my life here. Like how if I don't even get a card, does that mean I was that bad and people are just dancing around me, not telling me the truth? Things like that make you second guess yourself somewhere else. I had someone in one of my classes who said she was so mistreated, and she saw it as racism. She was so mistreated. And she's a really capable investment banker, like global, like she would be moved by her company from continent to continent. But she was so mistreated, and now she started looking for other opportunities. She said, Modesta, I went to an interview. They asked me the most basic questions anyone at any level in investment banking will be able to answer. And I was stuttering. I was like fumbling over my words. I did so terribly. And of course, she didn't get the job, but she said that wasn't even the issue, that me not getting a job. I wouldn't have given myself the job. But my question is, where did my confidence go? There was like minimal expectation, minimal questions. And so things like this, they can have a bearing. They can come and they hit you. But I ask you, whenever you feel yourself passing up an opportunity, or when you feel yourself deferring an opportunity, or when you feel yourself, sometimes we want to go into things with partners. Like, I don't dare go on my own because I'm just not sure I have what it takes. So I want to go in with a partner. Then you feel safer because you don't quite trust that you can do this on your own and you will do it well. Whenever you realize that I'm making decisions, I can rationalize them, but these decisions stem from fear. I'd like you to step back and ask yourself, what am I going through? What am I fearful of? This decision I'm making, and you're thinking, oh, so my strategy is not to do it on my own. My strategy is to do it in partnership. But deep down, you know that you're trying to avoid something. Deep down, maybe you're trying to put a security on things not going well. Deep down, you know that you don't trust yourself, that you feel as if you don't have what it takes. And so you will only feel confident if there's someone else who's like a crutch. Address that. Where is this coming from? What happened? Sometimes it's the one incident you had at work, the one incident in your business, the one feedback from one human being of everybody who said you did a stellar job that completely takes you down and gets you talking yourself out of situation. Second thing, ask yourself, am I actually ready to address this thing? Am I ready to let go of this? Am I ready to let go of giving and not really thinking? And so I always have more month than money. Am I ready to, stop these friendships because they're toxic and they're not serving me well? Am I ready to have that conversation with my manager? And I've had a couple of people who do this. They've gone back and had conversation. Listen, this is who I am. This is where I'm going. I see this as an opportunity to do this with this organization. And so would you be my sponsor to putting in a good word for me? Can I share with you the details of my achievements thus far, and to show and to share with you, some of the areas I look to get developed in so that I can take on the next role. I've had people do this. So one of them, sadly, recently, the boss felt threatened as if she was about to take her job, and she kind of clamped her down. But others were really receptive. That, oh my goodness, I had no idea you'd achieved so much. That's amazing that this is your trajectory. And so would you consider going through these development opportunities? Would you consider also including work from these departments in this area so that you can be challenged? Would you be ready by this time next year to take on this new role? Imagine if they hadn't done that, and you're sitting there kind of hoping that my work will speak for itself. Or maybe because you've been passed up before, so all of a sudden now you don't even want to try anymore just in case you're going to get the same feedback. Imagine that. And so ask yourself, do I have the desire? Will I go out and do what it takes? And then the third thing, knowledge. Do I have the knowledge? Do I know what it takes? Do I get stuck because I don't know how to? So for instance, some of the people who said, I can't say no to people's requests, but I resent it. I resent giving of my time and never getting my work done because I'm doing other people's. I resent, saying yes to requests for money because then I never have enough, and maybe it's my ego, but I'm too proud to go ask somebody else for money. I resent the fact that I'm still at the same level I was at before. I resent the fact that, I'm always told verbally that I'm good at what I do, but never recognized in terms of, whether it's promotion or it's an increase at work. And so so when people were sharing that with me, and I know somebody's like, bless your spirit, thank you so much. I know that you might think, I wonder if it's a spiritual thing. Like, I wonder if it's a thing from my childhood, and I don't know how to have boundaries and all of that. And yeah, it could be those things, but you can also get very practical with it. So one of the things that I asked her, and I know I've shared with you guys as well, is before you just say yes to a request, why don't you ask for a little bit of time to revert back to that person? And why don't you go and check with your finances to see if you can actually make that provision right now? Look, create a budget so that you are aware of where your money should go every month, including money for giving, and then stick to that. And where you can't, you just say, no, I can't, and get over the guilt of, oh my goodness, they've helped me before, and at least I have a little, the least I can do is share with somebody else. Just get yourself in a situation where you're in control of you and you do not make decisions and later resent them. And so somebody said, I've actually been doing that now. I've been asking people to give me time to go check, and I come back and I say I can't. Or I come back and say I can only do this much. Or I come back and say, can I do this another time in the month? This includes family. This includes close friends. This includes people that have helped them before. And so, they've been feeling bad about, saying no, like, they took me out of, a tight spot. Who am I to say no to them right now? And it is so liberating. They have such freedom knowing I am on the driver's seat of my life. What comes or goes, I am completely, in control of that. I'm completely in charge of that. And I can have a different outcome. And then the other thing is, like I said, knowledge or ability. If you feel like, yeah, I can do this, but I'm at entry level at this point. Well, ask, find out, get a coach, get on a program. One of the people on I think it's season 6 of the Masterplan Class said, I've enlisted on a personal finance program now because I've been watching my life going any which way. And one of the ways that people describe me is a rich friend. People call me a rich friend because I keep giving, but I'm actually really struggling with my family because of what I'm doing. And as soon as I got that tag, I'm like, wait a second, this is what they call me? So I am out there giving people this impression, but what I'm going through is something completely different. And she said it wasn't enough for me to just sit and pep talk myself. I've actually enlisted on a personal finance course. I was like, kudos to you. So if you think, okay, so I know what to do, but maybe my ability is not at the level that it should be, do what you need. Get a coach, get an accountability partner, enlist in a course, get some books, learn as you go. So that you do not discount yourself and say, oh, I'm just hopeless in this area. I will never be able to do this thing. Well, you haven't made the effort. And then the last thing is reinforcement. No matter the efforts that you make for you to do well in your career, for you to do well in your business, for you to be disciplined at home, for you to separate, have a balance between the work and the professional, etc. No matter what you do, if you are surrounded by people who think differently, who speak differently, who act differently, and so you say, I'm going to go out and I'm just going to spend $20. I'm going to spend, maybe 30,000 shillings. And you're with people like, yeah, you only live once. Let's live it up. After all, it's the end of the month, and you can always get credit on this side and the other. No matter how disciplined you feel you are, you will ultimately, very soon, change your decision. And so the environment that you're in either reinforces good habits and patterns or destructive ones. And so ask yourself, do I make accessing my money really easy? And so you have to put limits to that. Do I justify, when I've gone through something negative, do I justify splurging in another area simply to make myself feel better, but it's something that's actually going to work against me? What can I put in terms of systems? What kind of people, what kind of accountability can I put around myself? What kind of boundaries, so that it reinforces that which I want? So some people have alarms ringing. Some people have meetings every single week with somebody or the other. Some people have their money in fixed accounts. Some people, put it in property, and so it is not liquid. They cannot easily access it. Whatever you need to do, do not discount yourself from being a person that can go after the success you want to have in your career, in your business, in your family, in your life, until you know that I have done all that I know to do, and I have reached out and sought help, and now I am aware that I have these challenges. I have the desire to address these challenges. I actually have now learned the knowledge. I have the knowledge. I know what I need to overcome the things I'm going through, that I have the ability. And if not, I want to up my skill set. I want to up my capacity so that I can get that ability. Somebody else I know is just going for a professional certification program because she wants to deviate slightly in what she's doing. And so she's about to do that and get certified within a year. And I'm keeping myself in an environment that reinforces that which I do want to see in my life. So I'm going to go through this thing real quick. Let me just get this thing out and see if there are any questions. If there are any questions from you, I see. Let me see. Thank you, Clemens, Mkola, hi, Hassan, Isabel. Bless your spirit, my spirit, Mason. Okay, not sure, but okay. Thank you, Lauren, Jordan, Lauren, Josephine, Joyce. Who do I have here? I have Moto Cosmetics. Bongo Shopaholics. Oh my goodness, we're just talking about shopaholics right now. We're talking about curbing that shopping spirit. Perry, Farian. I had postpartum depression. I come to your page to lift my confidence. That's so amazing. I'm so grateful that you're doing something about. You know what? Just by saying that, Halima, thank you for sharing that. Because I was depressed. Before the children. I was depressed before the children, during and after. And so I completely relate to that. There's something that my husband and I saw this week, and it may address it, but just slightly, not fully, but just slightly address what you're sharing with me right now. There's something I shared with him, and he said sometimes we lack purpose. I mean, truly, the issues the thing that I shared, he said, like, how can somebody even go there? And yesterday, in conversation with somebody else who was going through certain challenges, and she found that she gets destructive in some ways, that when she's around people, she's functional and everything seems fine. Everything seems fine at work. Everything seems fine with others. But when she's alone, just completely has a meltdown. And I address this issue of purpose. Now, it doesn't mean that you're lost, you don't know who you are in life and where you're going. It could be that, or maybe it's not that. But there are degrees of this. When you don't have a greater picture of who you are, why you're here, what you're going through, or rather, what positive thing, what lesson you can learn, how you can use what you're going through as capital for where you want to go to next. You can get so bogged down in what you're feeling, what you're going through, what that means, that all you see is what you see. And one way, and I'm so grateful God for this, that I have been able to lift myself out of depression and out of a lot of challenges, out of setbacks, out of failure, just a lot out of betrayal and all of that, is to have a picture of where it is I'm going. So I am aware of where I am and the pain of where I am at the moment and the limitations of where I am at the moment. But because what I see for myself, what I see for my marriage, what I see for my children, what I see for my country, what I see for my continent, what I see in what I will be worth, and I'm actually talking about, financially now. I know I'm worth a lot to God. What I see for, the businesses and the projects and the things I'm taking on globally. because that is far greater than my current situation, I am able to travel in my mind to that. Now, I remember I did a really short live when I was cooking. I was in the kitchen, and I said that whenever I feel down in the dumps and I feel like, oh, I don't have what it takes, I am nothing, I either work out, like working out, exercise, or I work. I get into work. I will do a project, I will do something, I'll write a book, and that is not to escape the reality of what I'm going through. That is to remind myself that I am not bogged down by my current circumstances. So Halima, this may help. I am not bogged down by my current circumstances. This is who I am. And I did a video on your identity a week or two ago. This is who I am. This is where I'm going in life. And so all of this is transitory. This is just for now. And when I start working on who I am and where I am going, then I find where before I might wake up and I'm feeling the entire day, like this entire day, I already know it's going to be a waste of time. This entire day, I already know I'm not going to do anything meaningful, and I'm watching these days go, and I'll never again have this day ever again in life. And look at me. Oh, I used to be so much. Oh, I've amounted to so little. There is nothing good I can do. Instead of doing that, when I cut off that thinking, and especially sometimes, if you've gone through depression, you've gone through some of these challenges where you have patterns, you have this loop, this recording that you say and you speak over yourself, and you allow it to play. You allow the loop to go until it comes full circle. So I cut it off by traveling in my mind and in the efforts that day to something that feeds the future I want. The ideal that I want for myself, I travel to make that happen. I will write, even if I do these mind maps, like I draw a circle with spokes coming out with arrows, and I write down different things associated to what that circle topic is. Even if I'm just imagining a future, even if I'm looking at houses and cars, that we would like to have, even if I'm looking at, I'm reading an article or I'm following an authority in an area, or whatever it is, I will myself to leave, because this is the thing. I have lived 6 years. This is like 6 years saying, I will go back to what I had. I will go back to how I was. I will go back. And so in my little head, my past was greater than my present. And I somehow wanted to miraculously get that back. When the truth is, and listen, don't let nobody lie this to you, your future is far greater than a single day you've lived, including today. If today were the best day of your life, your tomorrow is far greater than today. And so Modesta was holding herself back for 6 years. I don't even know how I did it for that long. I held myself back for 6 years, telling myself, I will regain, I will go back, I will restore, I will get. That was so small in thinking. That is so myopic in vision. So instead of going and saying, oh my goodness, what I'm going through, God, just help me survive this. This is not ideal. This is not me. I am far greater than this. What am I going through? What is this? Like, I cannot wait for the days when, I cannot wait to go back to, I cannot wait to experience. Instead, create the future you want. Your better days are not in the past. Create what you want to see. So that's what I do. When I write, I am creating the future I want. And because God has wired me to want a life not just better for myself, but for the African continent and Africans in the diaspora as well, I write books for African professionals and people in business and people in their careers and people to get over their personal development. I create programs for them. Everything I've been through, I use it as material for what I wish and I pray and I want for other people. And that immediately gets my endorphins up. That immediately lifts me up. Like for a moment, and for a good moment, I don't see my circumstances, therefore I'm not all up in my feelings. But also, I now see myself as a mastersmith. I see myself as a person who is able to create the future I want. I start speaking that future. You guys see me coming out to you all the time. I speak the future I believe I deserve. I speak the future I believe I'm capable of enjoying. I speak it forth and I see it happening. I don't always disclose how many invitations to participate in other people's programs that I get. I don't always disclose, how many people come to me for mentorship. I don't disclose how many times I wake up in the morning and somebody is going through something serious. They look for me. I don't know how they get me on WhatsApp, my phone, and they tell me, Modesta, this is what I'm going through, or this is what I've been through. And when you shared this, and when you said that, how do you guys think I even get people in the Masterplan Class? Is other people have gone through certain things, and they're like, so-and-so is being transformed. This is getting so clear. Just your post, when you post, and this is men and women, like randomly on LinkedIn, somebody will say, you just spoke my entire life, you just didn't put my name on it. And many a times I'm sharing what I have been through, or what I may even still be going through, and this is something else. If you're going through stuff and you're thinking it's such a challenge, and I will never go to market, so to speak. I will never admit to people that I'm going through this, because who am I? Truly. If I'm still going through it, then I'm not qualified to help other people? Nonsense! Of course you are. You can right now help other people who are going through similar challenges because you see what you're going through, you're aware of it, you're calling it by name, and you're doing something about it. There are times you're moving as peers. Listen, if you're even one step ahead of somebody else, they're looking up to you. They're counting on you to show them how to get from that step to come up to where you are. And you will find as you're helping them get past that step, you get to the next step. There is something about getting out of your feelings, getting out of your situation, getting out of your depression, getting out of your brokedom, getting out of what you're going through right now. There is something about helping other people that gets you to man up, that gets you to toughen up, that gets you to challenge yourself to be more, because there are people counting on you. But when you sit all in your feelings and you're thinking, my better days were gone. Like, I cannot wait. Like, if only, guys, if you know this biblical story where the Israelites are like, we were so much better I was about to say mystery, so much better in Egypt. We had cucumbers and we had garlic and we had spices and we lived. Really? But you were a slave. Like, how could that be better? So whatever you're going through right now, one of the things that I would encourage you to do, which I do, and like it's a proper strategy for me, because I get down in dumps. I get to, man, it sure was good back in the day. I get out of that and I start looking into my future. Just when you sit and you write the vision you have for your business, the vision you have for your family, the vision, and I don't mean you're writing out a vision, but just whatever that comes to mind. It could be the kind of house you want to live in. It could be, your qualification and your education. It could be, I want to get into a position where I am influencing this, in my country, in my industry, whatever. Just doing that is actually prophesying into your future. When you sit and you're saying, if only I could, you are actually killing your future. You're telling yourself, there is nothing that I have right now that is the material for what I want next. And so I am just sitting here praying, hoping somehow, somewhere, I don't know who, how, will save me and will automatically catapult me to the next place. But when you start saying, what do I have to lose? Really, what do I have to lose? If I can dream, I can Google these courses, I can get pictures of this house or this car, or take my picture and superimpose it somewhere, imagine myself in this position, imagine myself doing this, imagine myself giving to this level, imagine myself building this for other people. I can do that. It's not going to cost me anything. You are actually empowering yourself. You're telling yourself, I'm not done yet. My best days are not in my past. Yes, so I got passed up for that opportunity. There'll be other opportunities. Do you know how many people get passed up for opportunities and they not only get the next level promotion, they end up being the CEO? Do you know how many people get rejected for applications and then out of, maybe for funding, and out of nowhere, they get 10 times the funding plus the management, to help them run things? Life happens to all of us. But it's when you sit there and you're just in this, for lack of a better word, this funk, this mood, this state, this depression, this, I want to hide right now. I want to hide right now the things that I'm going through in life. Oh, it's so shameful. Oh, it's so beneath me. Oh, it's so... When you get in that, you're not able to really call out by name what it is you're going through. You're not ready to even address it. Do you know how many people have offered free services that could not take those free services? Free. What I charge a lot for, I've offered for free to some people. They weren't even ready to take free services. They were not ready to address their issues. So it wasn't even, I don't have a person. They're just not willing. It feels better to say, woe is me. It feels better to say I was victimized. It feels better to say I don't have what it takes. It is easier to run away and not address the thing than for them to say, you know what, my best days are not behind me. My best days are still coming. And I can be, what I want to be. I can change this thing. I can turn this thing around. So I don't know what you've had to pass up. I don't know what struggles you've been through. I don't know if it's labels. I don't know if it's opportunities passed up. I mean, somebody else is going through sexism, and they're senior, but, they're being discounted. Somebody else is ageism. Somebody else just simply, they've fallen so many times, they actually don't trust themselves to ever attempt again in this area, whether it is business or it is work. Like, look, I should just be grateful where I am. At least I have a job. At least I have a business. At least I'm doing something. But I will never again go out and try. Those are levels I'm not at. There are people who talk themselves out of opportunities. Listen. There are people who will go through challenges and say, that goes to prove I bit off more than I can chew. I'm not cut out for this. Let me count my losses. Let me call it as it is. Let me be honest with myself. I don't know if you've ever heard yourself say that. Let me be honest with myself. Call it as it is and stay in my lane. Stay at my level. Let me manage my expectations and not pretend and not try to do, more than I'm able, more than I'm worth. And then there are other people, same situation, same set of facts, who say, my goodness, this is a challenge. But in this challenge is an opportunity. Let me speak those things that be not as if they are. Let me see what will come out of me because of this challenge. I will overcome this challenge. I will write a book from this challenge that other people will overcome. I will get out of this and I will shout from the mountaintops. Anybody else at the sound of my voice will get out of a similar experience. Same situation. One person says, let me be realistic. I wasn't cut out for this. Another person says, oh, like I used to do. I'm going to read your comments soon and copy. I used to do this when I used to jog. I would jog, and then when I get really tired, I'm looking at the road. And I said, my name is Modesta Lillian Mahiga. So this is before I got married. My name is Modesta Lillian Mahiga. What's your name? And I'm jogging and I'm like completely out and I want to stop. Then I start speaking. I know it sounds crazy, guys. You guys already know by now, like I'm a little wacko. So I'm looking at the asphalt, like the road, the tarmac road, and I'm speaking to it. I'm telling it who I am. Meaning, Modesta Lillian Mahiga is a woman who does not back down. Modesta Lillian Mahiga is a woman who does not, bow out. Is a woman who gets the job done. I'm a person who starts to finish, and I don't stop halfway through. So whenever, I'm running and I'm talking to the road, saying, my name is Modesta Lillian Mahiga, what's your name? I'm saying, I know who I am and all I carry. I know all that I am capable of. Who are you, tarmac road, to try to get me to stop before I get to my destination? And I know it was just a little thing that I have with the road, but I have that with life in general. Like, all right, I see you. And it hurts sometimes. It hurts. You're really going through real stuff. Guys, do not think I'm sitting here and I'm always chirpy and I'm always motivating, whatever. Life hits me hard. Life hits me like proper. Do not mind this makeup and this accent, me coming up with this excitement. Life hits Modesta properly, like the rest of you. But what I know about Modesta is I don't stay down long. And you need to say this to yourself. I do not stay down long. And the more I find myself sitting all up in my emotions, all this and that and the other, I quickly get pen and paper or whatever, and I find a way of writing out. And I don't mean I'm writing books, I'm writing novels, I'm writing journals. No, I'm looking for a way, or maybe I will scroll through and I find a picture so that I can have an anchor of the future I know I have not lived out yet, of the future that I know I'm very capable of achieving, even if it sounds preposterous to anybody else, even if it sounds that I'm trying to go into things that are not at my level, that are bigger than me, and I need to manage my expectations. I will go for the biggest thing that my mind can conceive, and I will anchor my thoughts there, and I will anchor my actions there, and I'm constantly challenging myself. What happened? I lost some people. Constantly challenging myself. Constantly, what's the word that I want to say? Wait, I'm trying to get this thing back. It timed out after an hour. Hey there, I'm back. So constantly challenging myself. Constantly willing myself to get out of my feelings. To get out of my ignorance. Maybe it's a thing that I don't know, and so I'm running around the thing because I don't know. To get out of secrecy that, oh my goodness, I'm senior management. If I admit to people I have this challenge, they're going to wonder if I can do this thing at all. They're going to wonder. I don't care what people wonder and think. What is key is that I get my challenges resolved. And if you're a person who says, I actually don't care at this point, who knows I have a challenge? But of course, if you come to me, I'm not going to tell anybody that, you have a challenge. I don't care if somebody else knows that I'm struggling with these things. I don't care if somebody else knows that, I don't feel confident when I'm out to do these things. I don't actually at this point in time care. What is important is that I have these challenges and I want them resolved. And so if I don't have what it takes, or that I think I don't have what it takes, it doesn't mean that there is nobody else to help me. So I am going to take time away to be more self-aware of what I'm going through. I'm going to call my challenges by name. I actually will determine, I'll make up my mind that I am going to address this thing. No matter what it looks like, no matter how I feel, no matter who else is watching, no matter what they think. Man, if there's a person who could not care less what people think, I'm one of them. No matter what other people think. I am going to get this thing resolved. If I need to find someone, I'll do that. If I need a coach, I'll get a coach. If I need to get an accountability partner, I'll do that. If I need to write down and disclose to my supervisor, to my boss that I need this thing, I'll let them know. And if it gets to a point where it's an ultimatum, where I want to go, what I think I'm worth in terms of pay, where I think I'm worth in terms of development, in terms of positioning in this organization, if they don't see it, I'm ready to walk away. I am no longer ready to compromise me, who I am and where I want to go, simply to keep appearances, simply to belong in a group, simply to be seen, to keep up with the Joneses and to be seen to have a certain life. I'm going to be real with myself. I'm going to be real with my struggles, and I'm going to get the help that I need. I have discounted myself. I have talked myself out of too many career opportunities, talked myself out of too many business opportunities. I've talked myself out of, moving my family from one level of peace and prosperity and progress to another, simply because, what will other people say? What will that mean? And I cannot afford any longer, and I will not have another day of living a life that I know is less than what I am due. But I keep talking and lying to myself that this is all there is. I should be grateful that I have even this. There is far more out in the world for you. There's far greater in you for the world around you, for yourself and the world around you. But you need to know that the challenges you're experiencing, the setbacks you've had, they're not it. And you're not too far gone. People are in depression. People are committing suicide. People are stealing. People are moving out. People are going through all kinds of challenges because they completely believe the story. I have messed up. I am too far gone that there is no way this can be redeemed. Do not ever think that, what is happening in my personal life has nothing to do with my career. It all is linked and it will affect each other. So don't stay in your head and discount yourself from career opportunities. Do not remain in your head and discount yourself from doing business or thinking, I don't have what it takes. Maybe I need a partner. Maybe someone else. Maybe I can give this to someone else to do. Never discount yourself. But do seek out help. Wait, I've got a comment here. Mora niko na shangazi yako Rosi Maiga hapa nyumbani na kusalimia sana. Asante sana shangazi, shikamo. Yeah, for those who don't speak Swahili, look, I just had to get down and this is my father's sister who my cousin just told me about. Hi, John. What a privilege and honor to have you here. Bokeh, Dada Margaret, Joy, Sheila. Sheila, welcome. William. Who else do I have? Erasto, nice. Grace, hi. Thank you. And who do I have here? Maria. Hilo, hey, it's been a while. Lela, Philip, Rich Forever, that's right. Anna Malongo, Halima. Hey Frank, Gertrude, welcome so very much. So that's it. And listen, the model that I was just sharing right now is from ProSci Change Management, ADCAR. A, be aware that you have a challenge. It doesn't mean that you should discount yourself from that career or that business and that pursuit. Just be aware. I've had a challenge in this area before. I need to have it addressed. Number 2, D, desire. Be willing to actually address the thing. Sometimes people go off, they enroll for courses, they take things, or they get into investment groups, they get into things, but they're actually not ready to follow through. They're not ready to do the hard work you require for you to move on to your next level. And so it becomes a waste. And do you know what you end up doing? You end up saying, been there, done that. It yielded no results. But you didn't really mean it. You weren't in it to win it. You weren't in it to see it through. You're just trying it out so that you could tick and say, well, I did what I could do. After D is K, knowledge. If you don't know, find out, get in the know. Get audiobooks, get YouTube, get an accountability partner, get a coach, get a mentor, join groups of people that are doing similar things. There are many professional groups, and whether formal or informal, that are set up. Get in the know. Whatever it takes, get in the know. Like I said, I've recently helped people learn how to start online stores, self-publish online, and many other things that they hadn't thought it through. But now, they realize, is that all it was? Like, I was wondering how I would do this. And then now I see that, well, it was just an issue of knowledge. And then A, ability. If you think, Modesta, I think I got it, but I'm not at that level yet. Okay, then pace yourself. Give yourself time, find out, learn from others, go to your supervisor. What does it take for me to learn to be able to perform at this level? And I'm looking, I'm eyeing at getting into another position, getting a promotion around this time. Set some goals and work towards them. Just because you don't have the ability, the capacity to do it at that level doesn't mean that you never will. Doesn't mean that you're not the person to go for that. Go for it, by all means. But maybe you're going to do it longer. Maybe you're going to do it differently. Maybe you're going to have to supplement, your efforts with something else that you're going to do. Whatever you need to do, do it. And then the last thing is R, reinforcement. People, the support system. It could be technology. It could be putting in boundaries and measures so that you can deny instant gratification, whether it is finances, that you're locking your finances away that you can't access them. Maybe you're buying assets so that it's not liquid and you can't easily access. Whatever it is that you have to do, you are in charge of how far you can go, and you can go very far in life. Do not discount yourself. Don't get to a point like this lady who came to class once and she committed suicide. Or other people that are going through depression, or other people that have fallen along the way. That life is happening to me. And maybe I just don't have it. Somebody else says, I keep repeating the same destructive habits. Once a month, I go through this meltdown. It's actually known that I need time away once a month. Don't get to a place where now you are comfortable and you are embracing the dysfunction, that you're saying, this is my thing, this is my problem, it's a thing I have, and so I don't want to ever go out in public because then I'll put my stuff out there. And so let me just not engage in this for my career. Let me just not do business. Let me just not. Don't be so quick to discount yourself. But there is work that you'll need to do. Now, I want to leave you with this. If you're willing to do the work, if you're interested, if you want to say, look, Modesta, I've been listening to you for years. It's now October, end of October, 2019. I want to do something. I want to start 2020, perfect vision, guys. I want to start 2020 differently. Look for me, DM me. I am registering the 8th season. Guys, remember it started November last year? The 8th season of the Masterplan Class. If you want to get the clarity of who you are, where you want to go, some of the challenges that you have that you keep repeating, some of the things that are over you that to you really are too much. Maybe they're not just you. Maybe it's also family. Maybe it's friends. Maybe it's finances. Maybe it's debts. Maybe there are things on you. You're thinking, I am unable to make decisions for myself, Modesta, because my life is not my own. Like there are a lot of people and a lot of elements. There are a lot of variables, which is why I can't have the progress that I want. I want to get out. I want to do more. I want to be more. But if you knew my life circumstances, you would understand. Look for me. DM me. So we're starting on the 1st of November with the Masterplan Class. If you'd like to join that, whether it is for your career, whether it's for your business, whether it's just to get your life in order, that you've noticed like you keep repeating the same patterns over decades, over and over, and you're telling yourself the same story of why, the level you're at is all the level you'll ever do, look for me and join the Masterplan class. Like I said, it's a 10-week program. It is intense, but you have a lot of touch time with me to really speak into what you are experiencing, what you see as your challenges. And I'm telling you, in these conversations, at times I'll challenge you and say, that's what you're saying to yourself. That's a story you're saying to yourself, but that is not so. Because speaking to you, I hear greatness. Speaking to you, you just told me of 5 situations where you overcame the same thing. Why now, just out of this one, challenge, would you say you're not the person to do that? Just in conversation with you, you gave me 5 situations where you came out on top. Speaking to you, I might tell you, okay, newsflash, you're separate from your spouse. You're separate from your siblings. You're separate from your parents. And I've had some people like, look, my mother was like, what course are you taking? Because all of a sudden, I was saying no, and I was putting things in its place. And the family is like, who is this person? I'm like, okay, I don't want to beef with people's family. But really, the only way that you will be responsible for yourself is when you stop getting behind it's my family, it's my spouse, it's our, it's the people I'm with, and I don't want to get out of it. Look for me. If you want to see the level of success and significance, guys. Not always just about the money. You get good money, you be a good person, you be a famous person. That's not what I'm about. But it's the fact that God has created every single one of us with greatness. Their skill sets, their gifts, their talents, their capabilities. There's insight that you have that other people don't quite see things the way you see them. There's experience you've had over the years. There's integrity and there's a workmanship. There's a way that you do things only the way that you do them. And many times we sit on them because life happens and we just don't know how to get out, or we're not willing to, or we're not in an environment that reinforces that even when we make the effort to. Join the Masterplan class and I'll walk with you through this. So if you're interested and you've enjoyed any of what I've said, or it struck a chord with you, it hit something hard, DM me and let's get you on this program. It is a 10-week program, a lot of touch time with me. It is also flexible in payment. Do this for yourself and for all those that will look to you for solutions. All those actually that currently depend on you, that you're just doing a half-baked job in reaching out to them and making a difference to them because you're not whole and you're not fully persuaded that you're the right person, the right place, the right time, doing the right thing. Do this for you. And for all those that will come after you, that will be grateful that you chose to make the investment, to do the work, to grow, and to lift everybody else under your care thereafter. All right. Thank you so very much. I'm grateful you spent an hour and a half of your time listening to me. I pray that this has spoken to you, and I will have you reach out to me about joining the Masterplan class. Have an amazing afternoon, evening. Much love from me. Thank you, Grace, and who do I have? Maron and Boke and John and Chingeli and Tom and Wema. Hey now, Wema. Matilda. Hey, Tilda, Bella, Winfrida. Hi, Winfrida. Grace. Oh, Grace, you've been a blessing to me. Grace has done the Masterplan class. Actually, this is what I want to do in November because that marks a year since we started the Masterplan class. I'm going to have a couple of people on live with me who've done the Masterplan that will share their experiences with the class. And so from the very beginning to November, I'll get different people to come in and just share, what it did for them, what it's continuing to do, how they continue to apply those principles in their lives, and with what results. All right, take care until then. Much love. Bye. And goodbye.